Welcome back to another episode of our Buy, Sell, Keep series for Gameweek 26. As always, we will be discussing which players you should consider buying, selling, or keeping in your Fantasy Premier League squad. Remember, making transfers isn't always necessary, so we will also touch on whether it's worth making any moves at all. Let's get started. First up on our list is Kaoru Mitoma from Brighton. The Japanese midfielder has been a popular pick amongst FPL managers in recent weeks, largely due to his upcoming double game weeks. He has 2 doubles in the next 4 game weeks, which could potentially provide a good opportunity for points. However, it is worth noting that Brighton do also have a blank game week coming up in those 4 too. Mitoma has been off form recently, with both McAllister and March outperforming him in the last couple of game weeks. Despite this, Mitoma remains the highest owned of the 3 Brighton midfielders. In my opinion, Mitoma is a buy, but not at the expense of March and McAllister. If you have the funds and transfers to spare, adding Mitoma to your squad for the upcoming doubles would be a great move. However, if you do want to go for differentials in the Brighton attack, McAllister and March are both, in my opinion, better options. Next up is his teammate on the opposite side of the pitch, Estupiñán. He has been in great form over the last few weeks, but did pick up a slight knock in his last game against Fulham, so it is worth waiting for team news if you're considering bringing him in. Estupiñán has kept 2 clean sheets in his last 4 games, while also providing 3 assists in that time. He has certainly been a key part of Brighton's recent success, and looks like an exciting prospect for FPL managers. If you're looking for a more nailed-on option who could also chip in with a goal or 2 from corners, then Dunk could be a great alternative. Another thing to consider with Estupiñán is that Brighton have been relatively solid defensively this season, with the 7th best defensive record in the league, and with upcoming fixtures against Palace, Leeds and Bournemouth, there is certainly potential for more clean sheets to come. Of course, there is always the risk of rotation in Brighton's defense, especially with the likes of Lamptey waiting in the bench. However, if Estupiñán is free from injury and can continue his recent form, he could prove to be a shrewd acquisition for FPL managers looking for a bargain price defender. Remember, it's not always necessary to make transfers every game week, so don't be afraid to hold on to your transfers and save them for next game week. Next up is Tony. He has been in excellent form this season and is the 3rd highest scoring forward in FPL this season. It is no surprise that he is the top transfer in this game week, especially given that Brentford have 2 doubles in the next 4 game weeks. However, there are a couple of reasons why you might want to avoid him this week. Firstly, he is just 2 yellow cards away from a 2-game suspension, and given his history of racking up yellow cards, that suspension could come at any moment. The other reason is that he is facing one of the best defensive teams since the restart in Fulham. They have played without Mitrovic for a few weeks and have looked more solid defensively than they usually do with the Serbian in the side. That being said, Tony's underlying stats have looked good all season and he is the main target for Brentford, which bodes well for his future prospects. If you are looking for an alternative to Tony, you could consider his teammate Buemo, although do keep in mind that he usually performs worse with Tony in the side. Personally, I am going to hold off on bringing in Tony until after the Fulham game, as long as he avoids a yellow card in that one. That way, I can bring him in ahead of a double game week in 27 and avoid the risk of a 2-game suspension. Lastly, we do have Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal. Many managers are considering getting rid of him after his recent benching for Trossard in their last game. However, Arsenal's attack looked worse without him in the side, as he provides proper number 9 runs for the team. I believe that Nketiah will be back in the starting lineup for Arsenal and will only leave once Jesus comes back to full fitness, which will likely be after the Bournemouth game. In the last 4 game weeks, Nketiah has been involved in 8 big chances, with 3 of them ending up in the back of the net. There is a lot of room for improvement and he has a high ceiling for points if he has a good day. So my advice is to keep him for 1 more game week before considering getting rid of him and investing in another Arsenal asset instead. And that's a wrap for our buy, sell or keep video for Gameweek 26. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification down below. See you soon for the next one.